Have you ever wondered why some men rise while others fall? Not because the world is fair, but because they understand a truth that remains invisible to most. A truth that whispers in silence, buried beneath noise, ego, and the ceaseless pull of distraction. You think wealth is about opportunity, talent, or timing, yet those who truly ascend do so by mastering what cannot be measured, the mind. They cultivate an inner empire, a citadel of thought, desire, and reason, where chaos meets discipline and ambition bows to principle. Imagine a mind so still that it can hear the faintest ripple of possibility, so focused that it can shape reality from thought alone. This is not luck, this is law. The Stoic trick, the hidden alchemy of billionaires, is not a secret strategy, not a loophole in the marketplace. It is a mastery of self, the quiet dominion over emotion, the relentless pursuit of vision guided by reason, and the unshakable belief in the inevitability of one's success. Most men chase fortune externally, sprinting through streets of noise, blinded by glittering illusions, forever waiting for circumstance to align. But the truly wealthy understand that the battle is fought not in boardrooms, nor on trading floors, nor in the fleeting applause of society. It is fought in the theater of the mind, in the crucible of thought, where desire meets clarity and persistence becomes a sculptor of destiny. Every billionaire you admire, every figure whose name evokes awe, has discovered a law older than markets, older than money, older than ambition itself, the union of unrelenting desire with serene, unmoved control. They have learned what Napoleon Hill called the law of success, and what Marcus Aurelius would recognize as the art of inner sovereignty. They understand that wealth is not the accumulation of things, but the cultivation of power over self. Consider the mind as an alchemist's laboratory. Thoughts are raw materials. Desire is fire. Faith is the solvent that dissolves doubt. Imagination molds reality, and yet without control, without calm mastery, the fire consumes the vessel and the dream burns before it is born. The Stoic trick is the delicate balance, a desire so fierce it drives you forward, paired with a calm so deep it makes the world's turbulence irrelevant. Billionaires are not impassioned slaves to greed. They are sculptors, wielding emotion as a tool, never letting it wield them. Their patience is infinite, because their vision transcends the ephemeral, because their minds are anchored in the certainty that the universe responds not to noise but to clarity, to reasoned, persistent action, to thought disciplined as sharply as steel. Desire without discipline is chaos. Discipline without desire is sterile. Together they form a force unseen, unstoppable, a silent engine beneath the surface of life. When you cultivate desire, feed it with purpose, fuel it with faith, and discipline it with stoic calm, you step into a plane where most cannot follow. You see opportunities that elude the distracted. You turn setbacks into catalysts. You embrace fear, doubt, and failure as instruments to sharpen your mind, not chains to bind it. Every billionaire understands this, though few articulate it. It is why they can remain unshaken in storms where others crumble. They know that wealth is never surrendered to panic, impulsivity, or anger. It is claimed in quiet hours of reflection, in persistent, calculated action, in the discipline of thought, in the control of emotion, and in the unwavering alignment of vision with action. Faith is not blind hope. It is reasoned certainty in the unseen. It is the absolute belief that the inner law of success will manifest in the outer world if one's mind remains disciplined, focused, and unwavering. Napoleon Hill wrote that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. To endure when desire falters. It is the courage to act when fear paralyzes. It is the capacity to envision when others are blinded by uncertainty. The Stoic trick is subtle. It is not in what the billionaire buys, but in what he refuses to surrender, the calm, the control, the unbroken chain of thought aligned with purpose. Consider this: one can possess all the knowledge, connections, and opportunity in the world, yet without the union of intense desire and stoic composure, one is powerless. Every fortune lost, every empire crumbled, every dream unfulfilled is proof of this invisible law. To master it is to step beyond chance, to claim a dominion unseen, to enter a plane where mental clarity bends reality to will. Persistence, the force Napoleon Hill praised as essential, is transformed under Stoic discipline. It is no longer frantic repetition. It is the quiet, unrelenting alignment of vision with action, carried out without attachment to outcome. The mind moves like water, shaping the path of least resistance, unbent by obstacles, unshaken by fear. Here, desire does not scream, it whispers with calm authority. Here, faith is not a hope, but an inevitability, a law as immutable as gravity. Every action becomes a reflection of thought, every decision a step on the path carved by the union of reason and ambition. This is the secret no one sees. While the world obsesses over tactics, timing, or talent, the billionaire hones the invisible, the mind itself. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is freedom. It is the ability to experience life's highs and lows, victories and failures, without surrendering control. The Stoic trick teaches that attachment clouds judgment. Unmastered emotion leads to ruin. Napoleon Hill taught that definiteness of purpose, backed by burning desire, is the engine of success. When fused, these principles produce an individual capable of moving through the chaos of life with unbreakable focus. They understand that no external force can dictate the rhythm of their mind, and therefore no external obstacle can dictate the trajectory of their fortune. To the world, it appears effortless. Behind the scenes, it is the relentless cultivation of inner power, the sacred practice of mastery, the quiet insistence that mind shapes matter. Every billionaire understands the cost of distraction, every moment of ungoverned emotion, every thought unaligned with vision, every surrender to impulse chips away at the potential of greatness. Yet those who embrace the Stoic trick move differently. They see life as a field of infinite possibility, yet they act with surgical precision. Their desires burn, but their hearts do not flinch. Their visions are grand, but their minds are calm. They persist because they are anchored in law, not luck, in reason, not whim, in eternal principle, not fleeting impulse. Theirs is a psychology of victory, a philosophy of unshakable power. To study them is to confront a paradox, to burn with desire while freezing in control, to wield faith while surrendering attachment, to imagine without limit while acting without error. This is mastery. This is alchemy. This is the hidden code of wealth. And so I ask you, as you sit in the quiet of your own mind, in the fleeting moments before choice, before action, before thought becomes reality, do you understand what it means to command your mind? To forge desire into action while tempering emotion with reason. To see the invisible threads that bind your present to your inevitable success, and to grasp them without hesitation, without fear, without attachment. The billionaires you admire, those who move through life with impossible ease, those who convert vision into empire, have discovered this truth. And yet it is not external, it is not taught in schools, it is not found in financial statements or news headlines. It lives in the silent, disciplined mind. It waits for those willing to endure the discipline of thought, the rigor of faith, the practice of emotional mastery. It is a secret, but it is not hidden. It is simply invisible to the undisciplined. It is the Stoic trick that makes billionaires richer, and it is available to you if you are ready to claim it. The mind is not a battlefield. It is a laboratory, a temple, a forge where desire and reason collide in silence. Consider this: every thought you entertain, every image you allow to linger in your mind, becomes a seed of reality. The wealthy do not stumble into success. They cultivate it like a gardener tending to a hidden grove of power. and the Stoic trick is in the tending, not in frantic planting, not in grasping, but in deliberate, patient cultivation. Desire is not the scream of greed, it is the gentle, unrelenting insistence that your vision must come to life. Faith is not blind hope, it is the understanding that the mind, disciplined and focused, obeys laws as immutable as the stars. And yet most wander, scattering seeds in chaos, watering dreams with panic, uprooting potential with fear. To rise above, you must learn to imagine clearly, to desire fiercely, and to act with precision, all while remaining unmoved by the turbulence of the external world. Imagination is the sovereign architect of reality. Napoleon Hill wrote of it as the workshop of the mind, the place where thought becomes form. But imagination, when untethered by reason, is merely fantasy. The Stoic mind tempers imagination, restraining it from dissolving into wishful thinking. It directs the energy of desire toward achievable manifestation, shaping action in alignment with law, with principle, with certainty. To imagine vividly is to create a blueprint of inevitability. To desire with relentless clarity is to fuel the engine of manifestation. To act with disciplined persistence is to erect the structure of success in the world outside the mind. These three, imagination, desire, action, are the tripod of power, yet their strength lies in the fourth, control. Without emotional mastery, without stoic calm, the tripod collapses, energy dissipates into chaos. The billionaire knows this, and he walks through life like a man with a map of the unseen, tracing invisible lines from thought to reality with unwavering precision. Consider the inner world of one such man. He rises before dawn, not out of obligation, not out of habit, but because his mind compels him to act, to shape reality while others sleep. His mornings are quiet, meditative, deliberate. He visualizes his goals, imagines every detail of success, feels the thrill of achievement in his mind as though it has already occurred. But there is no frantic excitement, no rash action. Calm underpins every intention. Reason tempers every desire. He knows that chaos outside will not dictate the rhythm of his mind. Markets may crash, alliances may falter, fortune may seem distant, yet within he is sovereign. He has learned the greatest trick of wealth. The world obeys not the impulsive, not the impatient, not the emotional. It bends to the disciplined, to the focused, to the unwavering mind. And here lies the paradox that the world cannot comprehend. Desire and detachment are not enemies. To pursue relentlessly while remaining unattached is the secret the billionaires keep from the masses. Desire fuels action, propels innovation, demands effort. Detachment protects the mind from ruin, from panic, from the blindness of uncontrolled emotion. The Stoic trick is in their union, burning like fire, yet cool as marble. The mind becomes a weapon of precision, cutting through doubt, fear, and distraction. Every obstacle is anticipated, every setback reframed, every disappointment transformed into a stepping stone. The billionaire does not flinch when fortune turns, he turns with it, calculating, adapting, persisting. Emotional mastery allows him to wield desire as a tool, not as a tormentor, to shape reality without being shaped by it. Faith is the lubricant in this mechanism of thought. Not faith in luck, not faith in randomness, but faith in the inviolable law that governs thought, action, and manifestation. Napoleon Hill called it a definite purpose backed by burning desire. The Stoics would call it the alignment of reason with nature. Together they form a law that governs the unseen. It is invisible yet undeniable. It does not shout. It does not plead. It simply is. And those who recognize it, cultivate it, and act upon it step into a realm where the improbable becomes inevitable. Desire, disciplined by reason, made precise by clarity, fueled by persistence, and guided by unwavering faith, becomes unstoppable. Fortune is drawn to it not by chance, but by the magnetic resonance of a mind aligned with law. Emotional detachment, too, is the key to longevity and power. A mind governed by impulse is like a ship in a storm without anchor. A single gust of fear or anger can throw the vessel off course, shatter progress, and dissipate the energy of vision. Billionaires, masters of the Stoic trick, are anchored. They feel, they strategize, they act, but they do not surrender control. Loss does not cripple them. Insult does not disarm them. Failure does not defeat them. These are not merely financial principles, they are psychological imperatives. To surrender the mind to external events is to surrender power itself. Wealth, influence, empire, all require the sovereign mind as their foundation. The Stoic trick is in the unseen architecture, the invisible dominion of thought over emotion, of discipline over desire, of reason over chaos. Persistence is transformed under this fusion. To persist blindly is exhausting. To persist with desire and discipline is transcendence. The mind becomes a conduit of will, a river of calculated energy, moving toward a goal with inexorable force. Obstacles are not walls, they are steps, lessons, instruments of refinement. Each setback is observed with reason, dissected for insight, then discarded without attachment. Every action is deliberate. Every choice is weighed. The fire of ambition burns, but it is channeled with precision. The billionaire does not chase whims, he constructs inevitabilities. He does not react, he orchestrates. He does not falter, he persists. And in this persistence, the world bends, not through force, but through the law of focused, disciplined, and unwavering thought. Visualization is the silent engine of success. The billionaire sees what does not yet exist and feels it as real. The mind, disciplined and calm, acts as a mold, shaping external events to fit internal vision. Desire is clarified by imagination. Imagination is guided by reason. Reason tempers emotion. Emotion fuels persistence. This chain is unbreakable. The Stoic trick is in the balance. To imagine without becoming deluded, to desire without becoming frantic, to act without becoming reckless, to hold faith in the unseen while remaining rooted in the present, to bend circumstances to will while accepting what cannot be controlled. Here is the alchemy of wealth, internal mastery producing external consequence, unseen law becoming tangible reality. Let us pause and consider the psychology beneath this practice. The billionaire does not measure success by applause, recognition, or even numbers. He measures it by alignment, the harmony of thought, desire, action, and detachment. When these elements are synchronized, every move becomes effortless, every decision inevitable, every outcome a reflection of inner law. The Stoic trick is subtle. It hides in plain sight, ignored by those who seek external validation, worship noise, and surrender to emotion. To understand it is to enter a quiet revolution of the mind, to claim dominion where few dare to tread. It is forbidden knowledge, not in the sense that it is secret, but in that it is inaccessible to the undisciplined, invisible to the distracted, and unachieva. Blee without relentless internal cultivation. Even adversity is transformed. Loss becomes opportunity, criticism becomes feedback, chaos becomes canvas. The mind trained in desire, faith, imagination, and detachment sees beyond the surface, beyond immediate perception, into the patterns that govern outcome. The billionaire navigates uncertainty as a master navigator sails a stormy sea, eyes calm, hands steady, course unwavering. Emotional turbulence cannot divert him because he has cultivated a fortress inside himself, impervious to external disturbance. This is the psychological core of unshakable wealth, not mere intelligence, not mere effort, but the disciplined, persistent, emotionally sovereign mind that acts as an unerring compass in the storm. And yet, mastery is not born from knowledge alone. It is forged in experience, in reflection, in the relentless exercise of the mind against its own impulses. Every desire must be tested, every fear confronted, every attachment scrutinized. The Stoic trick demands honesty, self-discipline, and courage. The courage to sit in silence, to confront discomfort, to observe emotion without surrender, to pursue vision without distraction. The billionaire moves through life as an architect of his inner world, knowing that every external victory is rooted in unseen internal conquest. Here lies the final paradox. To conquer the world, first conquer the self. To accumulate wealth, first accumulate mastery. To manifest destiny, first manifest the mind. In the quiet hours, when the market sleeps and the world slumbers in distraction, the billionaire's mind remains vigilant. Desire burns like a controlled flame. Imagination sculpts unseen. Reality, reason guides action with precision. Faith anchors belief in inevitability, and emotional detachment ensures clarity and resilience. Here, the Stoic trick is not a tactic, it is a way of being. It is the invisible foundation beneath every empire, the silent engine beneath every fortune, the hidden law behind every manifestation of success. The masses see the result, the wealth, the empire, the influence, but the secret lies in the process, in the disciplined architecture of thought, in the cultivation of the inner law that governs reality. And so, as you sit with this knowledge, you must ask yourself, can you endure the discipline of thought? Can you cultivate desire without surrendering control? Can you persist in the face of uncertainty, act with precision, imagine vividly, and detach from the chaos of outcome? The Stoic trick is not glamorous, it is relentless. It is not easy, it is rigorous. It is not taught in schools, it is earned in silence. Yet it is the law that governs the ascent of the greatest, the unspoken rule that makes billionaires richer while others remain blind to their own potential. To know it is to see the invisible. To practice it is to bend reality to will. To master it is to enter the realm of the inevitable, where vision meets action, desire meets discipline, and the mind, sovereign and unshaken, commands the universe to yield. You have learned that the mind is the forge of reality, that desire, disciplined by reason and tempered with calm, shapes the world outside. But to reach the heights where billionaires dwell, one must understand the hidden currents of inner strength. The quiet power that no one sees yet governs every visible triumph. Wealth, empire, influence, they are the surface. The true foundation is an unshakable mind, a will forged in adversity, a spirit trained to endure and thrive. Inner strength is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. It is not the absence of struggle, it is the transformation of struggle into fuel. The Stoic trick lies in this alchemy. The conversion of emotional turbulence into focused energy, the turning of chaos into clarity, the discipline of thought as an unerring instrument of success. The billionaire's mind is a landscape of contrasts, fire and ice, ambition and calm, desire and detachment. Each thought is deliberate, each emotion observed and mastered, each action calculated yet infused with purpose. It is not enough to want. One must cultivate the internal architecture that allows desire to manifest. Here, emotional detachment is not indifference, it is sovereignty. It is the ability to pursue relentlessly while remaining unshaken by outcome, to act with intensity without allowing the heart to tremble at failure or distraction. Desire becomes a disciplined tool, imagination a precise instrument, persistence a river carving its path through stone. Without this mastery, even the strongest ambition collapses under the weight of external pressure, fear, or doubt. With it, the mind moves mountains, bends time, and compels reality itself to align with vision. Consider the subtle psychology of influence. Wealth is often seen as the product of transactions, negotiations, or opportunity. But true power lies deeper, in the capacity to read the invisible, to act without haste, to anticipate the currents that guide fortune. The billionaire understands human nature, not to manipulate, but to align. He sees desire and fear in others as tools for strategy, as lessons in his own discipline. He navigates relationships with calm authority, never reactive, always deliberate. This is the psychology of unassailable power, to influence without surrendering self, to shape outcomes without compromising the inner law that governs one's own mind. Here, the Stoic trick reveals itself again. The external world bends not because of force, but because of internal mastery projected with clarity and precision. Every decision, every investment, every action is filtered through this lens of psychological sovereignty. The mind is no longer distracted by envy, greed, or panic. It calculates, it observes, it executes. Fortune becomes responsive to thought, aligned with reason, disciplined by desire, guided by faith. This is not luck, it is law. The billionaire does not wait for the wind to favor his sails. He has mastered the art of shaping the wind itself. He acts in harmony with unseen forces, bending the currents of circumstance while remaining unmoved by them. The Stoic trick, invisible to the untrained eye, is the silent hand that governs every visible victory. And yet mastery is iterative. The mind is never static. It evolves through reflection, confrontation, and practice. Emotional mastery is honed in adversity. Faith is strengthened through doubt. Persistence is forged in repeated trials. Imagination sharpens with every plan executed. Desire becomes precise, like the blade of a sword, capable of cutting through distraction and chaos. The billionaire's journey is not a linear ascent. It is a deliberate choreography of thought and action, refined through experience, tempered by reflection, and guided by unyielding principle. Every challenge is an opportunity to test discipline, to refine inner law, to strengthen the invisible engine of power. One must confront the illusions of the external world. Many chase wealth as though it were a prize to be seized, a status to be flaunted, a fleeting moment of pleasure. The truly wealthy understand that these are mere reflections of the mind, shadows that reveal the shape of desire but hold no substance. True wealth is sovereignty of thought, mastery of emotion, alignment of vision with action. The billionaire sees beyond the glitter, beyond the ephemeral, into the machinery of reality itself. He recognizes that desire, when disciplined, imagination, when precise, and persistence, when unmoved by circumstance, can shape the world without force, without desperation, without chaos. Here is the hidden psychology of the elite, the art of shaping circumstance by shaping self, the science of manifestation rooted in mastery. To endure this path, one must cultivate detachment without dulling ambition, to burn with desire while remaining unshaken by failure or delay. This is the paradox few understand. Emotional turbulence is the enemy, clarity is the ally. Attachment to outcome breeds fear, detachment fosters precision. The Stoic trick is in this delicate balance: desire without frenzy, persistence without compulsion, imagination without delusion. A billionaire sees opportunity where others see risk, because his mind is unclouded, his perception sharpened by calm, his decisions untainted by emotional distortion. Here lies the quiet revolution, the internal architecture of power that remains invisible even to those closest to the throne of success. Consider time as the ultimate currency. Billionaires guard it fiercely, not in panic, but in disciplined awareness. Every moment of distraction is a moment lost, every unmastered emotion a leak in the vessel of potential. Yet, they do not live in tension, they live in focused flow. Desire drives action. Faith fuels persistence, imagination shapes vision, reason directs execution, and detachment ensures clarity. This is the psychological mechanism that transforms hours into opportunity, effort into empire, and thought into material consequence. The mind, disciplined and sovereign, converts the mundane into extraordinary, the ordinary into legacy. The Stoic trick is embedded here, the transformation of time, attention, and energy into unstoppable leverage. The billionaire's resilience is not brute strength, it is psychological engineering. Setbacks do not break him, they are analyzed, dissected, and transformed into fuel. Criticism does not wound, it instructs. Chaos does not disorient, it illuminates unseen paths. Desire remains vivid, faith remains absolute, persistence continues without faltering. This is the synthesis of Napoleon Hill and Stoic philosophy, unrelenting ambition harnessed by reasoned calm, vision tempered by detachment, persistence executed with precise strategy. Every action, every thought, every feeling is aligned with the law of internal sovereignty. The world perceives success, the mind experiences mastery. Imagination is more than vision, it is rehearsal of inevitability. The billionaire does not merely dream, he experiences the outcome in his mind before it manifests in reality. Desire fuels this rehearsal, discipline ensures accuracy, reason prevents distortion, faith guarantees action. Emotional detachment protects clarity, preventing fear, doubt, or desire from contaminating precision. This internal process produces results unseen by the impatient, unheard by the distracted, invisible to the untrained. It is a secret not because it is hidden, but because it is inaccessible without deliberate cultivation of the mind. Wealth is the visible consequence of invisible law. This is the Stoic trick. Mastery of self produces mastery of circumstance, and in all this one must understand the role of belief. Belief is not wish, it is principle. Belief is the recognition that thoughts disciplined and actions consistent create inevitable consequence. Doubt is the enemy, certainty is the instrument. Yet certainty is not arrogance, it is grounded in preparation, persistence, and alignment. A billionaire trusts the law of mind, not external affirmation. He acts because he knows that the inner architecture of thought and discipline bends reality, shapes outcomes, and compels success. Here is the fusion of Napoleon Hill and Stoicism, faith in action, discipline of mind, detachment from outcome, and persistence in the face of chaos. This is not philosophy, it is applied psychology, invisible law, the engine of fortune. Now pause and reflect. Do you see the pattern? Desire, imagination, faith, persistence, emotional mastery, and detachment are not separate skills, they are a single system, a continuous feedback loop. The billionaire's mind is a machine of thought, perfected through reflection, hardened in trial, and guided by principle. Each component strengthens the others. Desire fuels imagination. Imagination clarifies vision. Vision directs action. Action tests faith. Faith reinforces persistence. Persistence demands emotional mastery. Mastery stabilizes desire. This is the invisible engine behind every fortune, every empire, every act of monumental achievement. It is the Stoic trick, the quiet power of the mind over circumstance, the alchemy that converts internal mastery into external wealth. And so you must ask yourself, can you build this engine within yourself? Can you cultivate desire without frenzy, imagination without delusion, persistence without panic, detachment without apathy, faith without folly? Can you endure the discipline of thought and the rigor of emotional sovereignty? The billionaires you admire have done this. They have not relied on chance, connections, or superficial talent. They have mastered the machinery of their own minds, and in doing so, have transformed the chaos of the world into opportunity, the randomness of circumstance into inevitable result. The Stoic trick is not a tactic, it is a law. It is invisible, silent, yet omnipotent. It waits for those willing to conquer the mind, align thought with action, and persist with discipline. To embrace it is to step into a realm where desire, reason, and detachment converge, where imagination becomes reality and where the mind commands fortune itself. Vision is not a mere picture in the mind, it is a force, a gravitational field that pulls reality toward itself. Most people drift through life, passive spectators of circumstance, unable to see what lies beyond the immediate, blinded by distraction, fear, or indecision. The billionaire's visio N is different. It is vivid, precise, and unstoppable. It is born of desire, sharpened by imagination, tempered by reason, and stabilized by emotional detachment. In this vision, the impossible becomes inevitable, the improbable becomes plausible, and the uncertain becomes calculated. Every billionaire you admire, every architect of empires, has been sustained by vision before they were validated by the world. This is the Stoic trick in its purest form, a mind that conceives without panic, imagines without delusion, and acts without attachment, bending external reality to the inner law of thought. Belief is the engine that drives this vision. It is not a vague optimism. It is a profound, unshakable certainty that the desired outcome will manifest, provided action aligns with law, principle, and persistence. Napoleon Hill emphasized that belief is more than hope. It is a command of the subconscious mind, a magnet that draws circumstances into alignment with intention. The Stoic philosopher would recognize the same principle in the art of reasoned expectation. External events are beyond our control, yet the mind governs response, shapes perception, and channels action. Belief becomes a bridge between the unseen and the tangible, between potential and realization. Without it, vision dissipates. With it, thought, desire, and action converge into unstoppable momentum. Persistence is the twin of belief. It is not merely repetition, it is the unyielding alignment of effort with vision. Every billionaire knows that obstacles are inevitable, that failure is a teacher, that chaos is a constant companion. Yet the mind trained in the Stoic trick moves through adversity without falter. Each setback is analyzed, each disappointment internalized, each challenge converted into insight. The world sees resilience, the mind experiences mastery. The secret is subtle yet profound. The combination of desire, vision, belief, and detachment produces an energy that cannot be broken, a current that flows through obstacles and bends circumstance to will. Here lies the psychological core of wealth, persistence guided by reason, fueled by faith, tempered by calm. The mind of the billionaire is a theater of invisible architecture. Every thought is deliberate, every emotion observed, every action calculated. They understand that manifestation is not magic, it is law. The inner world governs the outer. To act impulsively is to invite chaos. To surrender to fear is to forfeit potential. To imagine vaguely is to waste opportunity. But to focus, to visualize, to desire intensely, to believe absolutely, and to act without attachment is to command reality itself. Wealth is merely the reflection of this mastery, a visible consequence of invisible law. The Stoic trick lies not in the act of accumulation, but in the cultivation of the inner mind as a vehicle of inevitability. Consider the interplay of desire and detachment. Desire is fire, detachment is ice. Alone, desire burns uncontrolled, consuming all it touches. Alone, detachment freezes the mind, preventing action. Together they create balance, a flame that fuels, a calm that guides, an energy that flows with purpose. The billionaire harnesses this paradox, acting with intensity yet never losing composure, envisioning with passion yet never succumbing to fear. Emotional mastery converts turbulence into fuel, distract, ion into focus, uncertainty into clarity. The Stoic trick is not force, it is alignment. It is the realization that the external world bends to the mind disciplined enough to act without panic, to persist without despair, to imagine without confusion. Faith and imagination converge in the mind of the wealthy. Faith provides the certainty that thought, disciplined and acted upon, produces consequence. Imagination shapes the blueprint of that consequence in vivid, precise detail. Desire charges the engine, persistence keeps it moving, detachment ensures clarity. This synthesis is the invisible law that governs extraordinary achievement. The billionaire experiences it daily, often unconsciously, yet with profound impact. External obstacles, market volatility, competition, and critique become irrelevant because the inner law is immutable. Fortune responds, not to whim, but to the disciplined orchestration of mind, desire, and action. Here is the hidden psychology of success: the mind as architect, the will as engineer, the vision as law. Every empire begins in thought, yet most thoughts dissipate into noise, distracted by emotion, uncertainty, and attachment. The billionaire cultivates a sanctuary of mind, a space where desire can burn without consuming, where vision can flourish without distortion, where action can flow without chaos. In this sanctuary, setbacks are temporary, fear is analyzed, and obstacles are instruments of refinement. The Stoic trick manifests as internal sovereignty, an unbroken chain of thought, belief, and action, shielded from distraction and turbulence. To master this sanctuary is to claim dominion over circumstance, to manifest outcomes with precision, and to move through the world with calm authority. The subtle power of the Stoic trick is in its invisibility. The world sees wealth, influence, and empire. It does not see the hours of silent focus, the disciplined meditation on desire, the rehearsal of vision in imagination, the controlled response to emotional upheaval, the unrelenting persistence in the face of doubt. These are the unseen levers that shift reality. The billionaire's mind is a machine of extraordinary power, tuned to law, principle, and intention. External validation is irrelevant. The inner law suffices. Action flows naturally, outcomes are shaped with precision, and success manifests as a byproduct of internal mastery. This is the fusion of Napoleon Hill's principles with Stoic psychology: desire harnessed by reason, imagination disciplined by calm, persistence aligned with vision. Even the perception of time is transformed. The billionaire measures not in hours but in leverage, not in transactions but in alignment. Every decision is an opportunity to reinforce the inner law, every thought a seed of future consequence, every action a reflection of internal mastery. The mind becomes a lever, moving the weight of circumstance with minimal effort, bending reality toward inevitability. Emotional turbulence cannot dislodge the structure because it is anchored in principle, reason, and disciplined desire. This is the psychological architecture of unstoppable momentum: the mind aligned, the vision clear, the desire precise, the persistence relentless, the detachment absolute. The law of manifestation is simple yet profound: thought aligned with desire, guided by reason, executed with persistent action, and shielded by emotional mastery, produces inevitable consequence. Most never perceive this law because they are distracted, reactive, and untrained. The billionaire sees it clearly. He does not chase opportunity, he creates it. He does not react to circumstance, he orchestrates it. He does not rely on luck, he relies on internal law. The Stoic trick is here: the invisible mastery of self that converts potential into reality, the psychological blueprint behind every fortune, every empire, every act of monumental success. It is not flashy, it is not dramatic, it is rigorous, silent, and unbreakable. Faith, desire, imagination, persistence, detachment, these are the pillars of the inner law. To cultivate them is to construct a mind capable of achieving the extraordinary. External forces may challenge, tempt, or obstruct, but the mind, disciplined and sovereign, moves with inevitability. The billionaire does not merely endure, he orchestrates. He does not wish, he commands. He does not fear, he observes. The Stoic trick is the invisible engine, internal mastery producing external consequence. The world may perceive chaos, he perceives patterns. The world may perceive randomness, he perceives law. The world may perceive impossibility, he perceives inevitable result. To know this, to practice this, is to enter the hidden arena where thought, desire, and action converge into unstoppable manifestation. Now understand this. Desire fuels vision, imagination shapes it, faith sustains it, persistence executes it, detachment preserves it. Without one, the structure collapses. Together, they form a machine, precise, silent, and unstoppable. This is the psychology of billionaires. The secret that elevates them beyond chance, beyond luck, beyond circumstance. It is law, not magic. It is principle, not trickery. It is the Stoic trick, the mastery of self, that bends reality, converts thought into wealth, and transforms potential into empire. To cultivate it is to step into a new plane of existence, where internal mastery governs external consequence, where vision meets action, where desire is disciplined, and where success becomes inevitable. The mind is a vast, uncharted territory, and yet every billionaire walks it as though it were a city mapped in absolute clarity. This city is built on the foundations of desire, reason, imagination, faith, and detachment. Every alley, every street, every tower represents a thought disciplined, an emotion mastered, a vision realized. Most wander aimlessly, lost in the chaos of distraction, swept by the storms of impulse, fear, and indecision. The billionaire, however, moves like a general surveying a battlefield, seeing patterns invisible to the untrained eye, calculating the trajectory of events before they unfold, commanding the machinery of circumstance without being touched by it. The Stoic trick is here: the mastery of perception, the control of emotion, the alignment of thought with action, and the translation of vision into consequence. It is invisible, relentless, and unstoppable. Consider the power of the subconscious mind. Napoleon Hill called it the workshop of infinite possibilities, the hidden engine that transforms thought into reality. The billionaire understands this engine and fuels it with precision. Every thought planted, every desire clarified, every emotion observed, every action executed, all feed the subconscious machinery. It works silently, shaping decisions, influencing perception, orchestrating circumstance. Yet the conscious mind must govern it. Emotional discipline is the governor of this engine. Reason is its blueprint. Desire is its fuel. Persistence is its motion. Detachment is its stabilizer. The Stoic trick lies in this harmonious orchestration, to feed the subconscious without surrendering control, to harness its power without becoming its prisoner, to command its influence toward vision realized. Adversity is no longer an obstacle but a teacher. The billionaire welcomes setbacks, not as curses, but as instruments of refinement. Every loss reveals weakness to be corrected. Every failure highlights a path to mastery. Every challenge tests the resilience of desire and the strength of detachment. Emotional mastery allows him to observe without reacting, to analyze without despair, to act without distraction. Here, the Stoic and Napoleon Hill converge, persistence guided by reason, desire tempered by calm, faith reinforced by challenge. The mind becomes a crucible where chaos is transformed into opportunity, fear into insight, and resistance into momentum. The Stoic trick manifests in the ability to absorb adversity without fracturing, to transform external turbulence into internal power. Influence flows from the mastery of self. To shape the world, one must first shape the mind. Every interaction, every negotiation, every observation is filtered through clarity, discipline, and intention. The billionaire sees leverage where others see chance, opportunity where others see chaos. His influence is invisible yet undeniable because it is rooted not in persuasion alone, but in the projection of a disciplined, sovereign mind. Desire, vision, faith, persistence, and detachment resonate through action, shaping outcomes subtly but irrevocably. This is the psychology of the elite, the invisible architecture of influence, the Stoic trick applied not only internally but externally. The alignment of thought, emotion, and action with unshakable principle. The unshakable mind is cultivated through ritual and reflection. Daily practice, repeated meditation, visualization, and careful analysis are not mere routines. They are the scaffolding of mastery. The billionaire's mind is trained to recognize distortion, to correct error, to maintain focus, and to execute with precision. Emotional turbulence, whether born from success, failure, praise, or insult, is filtered through calm observation. Impulses are neither ignored nor indulged. They are examined, disciplined, and redirected. The Stoic trick is evident here. Power emerges not from suppression but from alignment. Clarity emerges not from avoidance but from engagement. Mastery emerges not from indulgence but from relentless, disciplined cultivation of the mind as an instrument of inevitability. Every desire becomes precise, every vision clear, every action deliberate. Imagination is rehearsed in vivid detail, shaping reality. Thank you before it manifests. Faith is anchored in law, not hope, ensuring that action is consistent, persistent, and aligned. Detachment preserves clarity, protecting the mind from fear, distraction, and emotional distortion. Persistence becomes effortless because it flows from internal certainty rather than external pressure. This internal harmony produces outcomes invisible to the undisciplined but undeniable in reality. Fortune, influence, and achievement respond naturally, not as accidents, but as consequences of invisible mastery. The Stoic trick reveals itself as the silent engine behind every act of extraordinary success, internal alignment producing external inevitability. Consider the alchemy of combining desire with calm. Desire alone is chaotic, impulsive, and fleeting. Calm alone is passive, detached, and uninspired. Together, they create a force of precision, fire guided by ice, energy guided by reason, ambition guided by principle. The billionaire does not chase success, he manifests it. He does not react to circumstance, he orchestrates it. He does not surrender to fear, he observes and directs it. Emotional mastery ensures that the energy of desire flows with purpose, imagination is sharpened with clarity, and persistence is sustained without the corruption of panic or attachment. Here, the Stoic trick operates as a psychological engine of wealth, influence, and legacy, unseen yet omnipotent. The law of attraction, manifestation, and inner sovereignty converges in a single principle: thought disciplined, desire clarified, action persistent, and emotion mastered. External events are merely reflections of internal law. The billionaire sees patterns, anticipates consequences, and acts with inevitability. The world, in its chaos, bends around him not through chance, not through brute force, but through the silent alignment of mind, vision, and principle. This is the psychology of unshakable success, an internal system of mastery that produces results, transforms obstacles into instruments, and converts potential into empire. The Stoic trick is the invisible hand behind every extraordinary outcome. Even wealth itself is secondary. It is the visible consequence, the reflection, the byproduct of internal mastery. True power, influence, and fulfillment reside in the mind disciplined, the vision clarified, the desire controlled, the persistence unwavering, the emotion sovereign, and the faith absolute. The billionaire's life is a study in applied psychology, every act, every choice, every response guided by invisible law, producing visible consequence. Here, Napoleon Hill's principles converge with Stoicism, the fusion of ambition and calm, of vision and reason, of desire and detachment, producing mastery over both self and circumstance. The Stoic trick is the conduit through which the extraordinary becomes inevitable. And so, in the final hours before action, the billionaire surveys his inner domain. Desire burns with clarity, vision glows with inevitability, faith hums with certainty, persistence flows like a river, detachment preserves balance, every thought is deliberate, every emotion observed, every action calculated. Adversity is analyzed, opportunity is magnified, fear is converted into insight. The world moves in chaos around him, yet he remains sovereign, unshaken, aligned. He has discovered the hidden law, internal mastery. Produces external consequence. Thought becomes reality, desire becomes action, vision becomes empire. The Stoic trick is complete in its perfection. The fusion of unrelenting ambition with serene discipline, producing a mind capable of commanding fortune itself. Now, as you sit in your own mind, consider this truth: every obstacle, every fear, every setback is a test of the invisible law within you. Desire must be disciplined, imagination must be clarified, faith must be anchored, persistence must be relentless, detachment must preserve clarity. The billionaire does not avoid adversity, he transforms it. He does not surrender to distraction, he focuses relentlessly. He does not fear failure, he converts it into momentum. The Stoic trick is not external, it is internal. It is the alignment of mind, thought, emotion, and action with principle, producing inevitability. To practice it is to step into a realm of unbroken power, influence, and mastery. A space where vision manifests, where desire is realized, where the world bends to the disciplined mind. Do you hear it? The silence before action, the pause before transformation, the space where the mind confronts itself and asks, will I master what I am, or will I surrender to what I am not yet? The billionaire hears it, the Stoic hears it, and if you are ready, so must you. This is the final threshold. The moment where desire collides with discipline, where vision meets action, where belief becomes inevitability, and where mastery of self becomes the law that governs reality. All the principles, all the practices, all the silent labor of mind converge here. You are at the precipice of transformation. The question is no longer about wealth, fortune, or influence. It is about sovereignty. Will you take command of your own mind or remain adrift, buffeted by circumstance, distracted by noise, imprisoned by emotion? The Stoic trick is not a secret of riches, it is a law of power, a law older than currency, older than markets, older than empires. It is the recognition that the external world responds only to the inner world, that desire without discipline is chaos, that faith without action is illusion, that imagination without clarity is fantasy, and that persistence without calm is exhaustion. Every billionaire, every visionary, every master of circumstance has applied this law, knowingly or unknowingly, to bend the invisible currents of reality to their will. Now it is yours to claim, not as a wish, not as hope, not as casual intention, but as deliberate, disciplined, and unflinching law of your mind. Visualize it. See the empire, the achievement, the life that is yours, not as something distant, not as a dream, but as inevitable consequence of the mind aligned, disciplined, and sovereign. Feel it, not as fleeting emotion, but as absolute certainty, as the unshakable hum of internal law guiding every action. Desire must burn but not consume. Faith must anchor but not blind. Imagination must shape but not distort. Persistence must move but without frenzy. Detachment must preserve but not numb. All these forces converge into one unstoppable engine, one invisible mechanism capable of turning thought into reality, vision into empire, and potential into dominance. This is the Stoic trick, and it is now within your grasp. Every obstacle will test you. Every failure will confront you. Every crit I see will challenge you. Yet none of these can prevail if your inner law is sovereign. The billionaire is not immune to challenge. He is masterful in response. He transforms fear into insight, chaos into leverage, loss into momentum, distraction into focus. He endures where others falter, persists where others surrender, acts where others hesitate. The Stoic trick is the silent engine, the mind aligned, disciplined and unshaken, bending the currents of reality to the direction of vision. To master it is to claim inevitability itself. Your mind is now your battlefield, your workshop, your forge. Every thought is a sword, every emotion a shield, every vision a blueprint, every action a step toward manifesting inevitability. Do not underestimate the subtlety of mastery. It is not in noise, spectacle or drama. It is in silent control, relentless clarity and precise action. This is the difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary, between drift and dominance, between potential squandered and power realized. The billionaire is merely the visible result of invisible law, a mind disciplined, desire controlled, imagination clarified, persistence unwavering, detachment preserved, and faith absolute. This is your law to wield. Act now. Do not wait for fortune, opportunity, or circumstance to validate your will. Act as though the universe itself responds to the precision of your thought, the intensity of your desire, and the sovereignty of your mind, because it does. See adversity as fuel, failure as feedback, and chaos as canvas. Align every impulse, every thought, every emotion, every action with the law that governs reality. Persist without frenzy. Believe without doubt. Imagine without distortion. Desire without attachment. Let the Stoic trick guide you. Let internal mastery define you. Let inevitability become your companion. The world will bend. Fortune will respond. The invisible currents will align. All that remains is for you to step fully into your sovereignty. You are now more than spectator. You are architect. You are commander. You are alchemist of the invisible, turning thought into wealth, vision into empire, potential into legacy. Every billionaire, every master, every legend followed this path. Silent cultivation of mind, relentless discipline, unwavering faith, precise imagination, persistent action, and sovereign detachment. You have the same tools, the same laws, the same potential. There is no external limitation. There is only the mastery you choose to exercise within. The Stoic trick is not complicated, but it is exacting. It is not glamorous, but it is transformative. It is not a strategy to be observed, but a law to be enacted. And now you must enact it. Do not wait. Do not falter. Do not surrender to hesitation, fear, or indecision. Command your mind. Align thought with vision. Fuse desire with calm. Execute action with precision. Persist without attachment. Let faith anchor certainty. Transform adversity into momentum. Master yourself in silence, in focus, in discipline. Step into inevitability. See your fortune, feel your power, embrace your empire. The Stoic trick is yours to claim, and with it, the world bends, wealth manifests, and destiny aligns with the sovereign law of your mind. This is not theory. This is law. This is mastery. This is the ultimate psychology of success. Step forward, command yourself, become unstoppable, become inevitable, become sovereign.